A woman had just lifted a bowl of steaming hot dumplings to her mouth when a filthy, homeless man suddenly rushed over. Without saying a word, he snatched the bowl from her hands and desperately shoved the dumplings into his mouth. They were so hot that he kept spitting them out, but his hunger was greater than the pain. The people around them were furious and were about to beat the man with a stool, but the woman quickly stopped them. Instead of getting angry, she went back inside and returned with 2 more bowls of dumplings and a plate of braised beef. She gently placed the food in front of him. The homeless man devoured every bite with tears streaming down his face. His tangled hair covered his face, his clothes were torn into rags, and his body was covered with wounds. His feet were caked with mud, and his nails were black with dirt. When he finished eating, he even licked the empty bowl clean and picked up the dumpling wrappers from the table so that not a single piece of food went to waste. The tofu seller from the neighboring shop walked over and whispered, "It's been more than half a month. Every time you feed him, he comes back again." The woman simply smiled and remained silent. Suddenly, the homeless man looked up and said, "Give me 100 yuan." The entire restaurant fell silent. The woman's husband stormed out of the kitchen with a frying ladle in his hand, grabbed the man's collar, and dragged him outside. But the woman stopped her husband. She calmly took out all the money she had, 78.60 yuan, and placed it into the homeless man's hand. Without looking back, the man ran away. As he fled, a small wooden pendant slipped from his neck and fell onto the ground. The woman picked it up and noticed it was only half of a finely carved peach wood ornament with a cicada resting on a lotus flower. It looked far too valuable to belong to an ordinary beggar, so she carefully wiped off the dust and placed it in her pocket. The people around her mocked her. Some called her foolish, while others said she had been tricked. She ignored them all and quietly finished her now cold dumplings. 3 days later, while delivering steamed buns to a construction site, she passed an abandoned factory and heard loud noises coming from inside. Curious, she looked through the doorway and saw 4 strong men brutally beating someone. One glance at the worn-out shoes lying on the ground was enough. It was the same homeless man. Without thinking twice, she grabbed a heavy iron rod, pushed open the door, and shouted, "The police are coming!" The men turned around, laughed at the sight of the skinny woman, and said, "Stay out of this. This man owes us money." She stood her ground and replied, "He's a beggar. What money could he possibly owe you?" Just then, the blood-covered man slowly raised his head. Looking directly at her, he whispered 2 trembling words, "Orchid, plum blossom." Her heart skipped a beat. The wooden pendant in her pocket suddenly came to mind. When she was a little girl, her mother had told her that their family possessed 2 matching halves of a peach wood token, which served as a family heirloom. When her 3-year-old sibling disappeared decades ago, one half disappeared as well. With a trembling voice, she asked, "What did you just say?" Before he could answer, one of the thugs shoved her aside. She crashed into the handle of her 3-wheeled cart, but she refused to run. Her eyes remained fixed on the injured man's face. For more videos like this, subscribe to our channel.